When I was a kid, I struggled a lot with my confidence and I didn't know really who I was as a person. It wasn't just the bullying, it wasn't just the fact that I was autistic and just had trouble in school. What's up, guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Um, Today I'm gonna talk a lot about my journey, how I figured out I was trans to begin with. Um, and I'm also gonna talk a lot about the signs I missed, um, how my childhood looked, and the things I didn't see myself in the beginning. Growing up, I had a pretty normal childhood. I didn't really experience those stereotypical. I wasn't a stereotypical like tomboy to begin with. I didn't dress in more masculine clothing. I think it was more neutral, but I don't necessarily remember much. I was um very interested in like movies and like video games that was considering a bit more to the like boyish side. For example, I really loved watching Ninja Turtles with my brothers, and I loved watching action movies and playing video games such as Lego Batman, and I really enjoyed all of that stuff. But at the same time, I wasn't stereotypically behaving like a boy. I wasn't acting like a boy, and but I wasn't necessarily acting like a girl either. I was just a child being a child. Um, so growing up, I didn't have anything against, like, I grew up with things like Monster High, Barbie, Ever After High. I grew up with, yeah, a mix of both when it came to the things I enjoyed. My mom really enjoyed horse riding, and I don't think I didn't like to compete in all that stuff. It wasn't really my thing. But I like to just go horse riding like in the forest, like alone, because it wasn't any like pressure, if that makes sense. As a kid, I was left out a lot when it came to being in school. I didn't have many friends at the time. I had like maybe one. I moved a lot in my childhood, and I remember that there was like this there was a problem at a school we were going to, that there was a lot of kids that were left out, and they made like a space where you can, there was like a sun like drawn on the ground, and when you stand there, you can like, it's a sign that like, oh, I don't have anyone to hang out with, so like you can find people that felt left out there. But the problem was that I was the only one that really stood there, and there were not really many people that cared. The other kids were like, um, it didn't work out because they didn't pay attention, and like I was always left out. When I started getting older, I was like 10, I think, 10-ish. My parents got divorced, and that mixed with the fact that I was being left out in school and all that, I felt really sad. And yeah, I felt left out, and I didn't really know what to do, because like I was going to school, being left out, feeling sad there, going home, and then we have that situation. And then I know my mom was sad, my brothers was sad. I didn't really know what was going to happen. I was just like constantly, it was like the beginning of a very dark time for me. Um, when I reached 13, I remember I was at my dad's house, and I got my period, which obviously isn't like, it's, I know that many people like just don't like it. It's obviously like a not fun thing because you have to live with it your whole life. But for me, it was like the first real sign that like I'm in the wrong body. I didn't know that back then, but like when I got my period, I was like terrified. Even though we've talked about it like in school and all that, like I was like freaking out. And I remember I ran to my stepmom and I was crying. Not at like the fact that I was just scared because this has never happened before, obviously, but like I was scared because I didn't want it to happen. It felt wrong and I felt just worried and all that. Like when it came after, it wasn't just the period itself, it was the fact that my body was changing, and I was disgusted more than anything. Like before that, I didn't really have any issues with my body because I was a kid. When I was seeing my body change, I that was the start of a very dark time for me, because getting into my teenage years, I was it wasn't only the fact that my body was changing, it was the fact that people around me started changing as well. And I'm not talking about my family, I'm talking about people my age. In school, I was being picked on for many different reasons. I was bullied. I was bullied a lot in school. And that made me even more insecure because, like, first of all, I was crying at the fact that my body was changing and that I have to wear like bras and stuff like that. I had no idea back then what that meant. I just didn't want it to happen. Like being trans, I had always had like this like ingrown stereotypical view. I don't know how to explain it, but like trans people in my brain was like, they know from day one. They know from like they see the signs from when they're kids and all that. But obviously that's not the case, which is why I'm making this video to begin with, because that wasn't my case because I didn't see it back then either. So obviously, when I saw my body change, I was like constantly feeling down, and I was like, I hated my body. Like I hated it so much, and mixed with the bullying that I experienced in school, I stopped going to gym class because I felt so insecure. And like I remember just being in the locker room, I was like, there wasn't really any like extreme bullying, but it was more like small comments here and there, and that hurt me so bad. And then just like having to change in a girls' locker room, it was just a constant fear. And the class like itself, I remember that people were commenting on the way I moved, like the running and all that. And at the time, I wasn't overweight. I wasn't overweight, but I was like bigger than I am now. So I was like hearing comments about that. And then after a while, it got so bad that I was like, I can't go to gym class anymore because it's not. I was constantly crying, like I was crying in the shower. The bullying just kept going for so long. Like we moved schools a lot, we moved around, me and my family. And I remember like going home after school and I was like crying. Like I remember going into my room and just like hiding there because I was like crying, and I just felt horrible every single day. And at that time, I I didn't tell my mom, I didn't tell my parents how bad it really was. Obviously they knew how bad it was because like they had seen, at least my mom had seen like how I was after like getting home from school, but like back then it was so extremely dark that I didn't even think I would turn 18. And it's crazy to think like that I'm still here after that, because it was really that bad to that point that I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like back then it was just so hard, and that's why I decided to move to my dad for a while, because it was a different school. It wasn't as many people, and it helped for a little bit until like the school only went up to like 6th grade, and then you had to like move schools again. So that's why I decided to move back to the school where I was like very bullied, and so I did. And obviously it was not a great time. It was still horrible. I felt like shit every single day until we eventually moved again, but with my mom. And then like the school there, I wasn't really bullied for me as a person. I was more like bullied for my style, because when I got there, I started experimenting a lot with my style, because like I think music had a lot of influence on that, because music has always been like the thing I could rely on, really. Like when I didn't have many friends, where I was like when I was bullied, I could always like turn to music and like a bit feel better, which is why I recommend it. Music is always a good tool for that sort of thing. Might help a little bit. And so I started experimenting a lot. I listened to many 2000s emo bands, so that's when I started like getting into the like emo fashion. And then I was picked on for that. I was picked on for how I dressed, because like I'm gonna admit my makeup wasn't really good back then, and even the makeup itself, I didn't really like wearing makeup. It was more like a moment I just didn't know what was going on, really. I was just trying to find myself in a way. um so yeah, I started like I was struggling a lot in 9th grade. I was like, my grades were horrible and I didn't really know what to do. I decided that I'm gonna do music for college, so I got all my grades up to like an acceptable um acceptable level that I might get into college. And that's what I did. I got into college and started doing music there. I sang, and that was around the time I started to realize that I was trans, because when I was singing, I've heard my voice, obviously, because like I've recorded it a few times just to see like how it sounds like, but like hearing it, getting like vocal training, and then singing on like in front of people, and then hearing your voice on speaker, like the fact that it didn't sound bad in my head. It wasn't the fact that I was like, oh, this is so embarrassing, this is me singing. No, that wasn't the fact. It was the fact that it was my voice. Like it was a feminine voice, and it felt like it didn't belong to me. It just felt like I had it, but it didn't belong to me, if that makes sense. So like after a while I was like, oh, this, I can't keep doing this, because I don't know what this feeling is, but it doesn't make me feel good. Like it doesn't make me feel good. And so I stopped doing music, and I switched to doing art instead. And at the time I did art, I also got into wrestling a lot. Well, I've watched wrestling for a few years. I didn't know that they had wrestling in Sweden, because like it's not as big here, obviously. So like I applied to get training, and that's what I did. I did training there for a while. And also something else I forgot to add, um, going to the gym. Like it was a while before starting wrestling that I went to the gym a lot, because I was so locked in to start wrestling. And that was also a moment I started seeing like what I wanted to be, like within my body, because I was obviously growing muscle, and yeah, it felt really nice. Sadly, I didn't keep up with it after I stopped wrestling because I was very sad at that moment. I soon realized that there was something wrong. Like, even though wrestling itself was so fun, it was one of the best things I've ever done in my entire life, and I don't regret it. It was something else that was like sabotaging it for me, and that was my gender. Because at the time, like, I had like, I watched like interviews and stuff like that with other like, with female wrestlers and all that, and I'm like, do I want to be a female wrestler wrestling other female wrestlers? And I was like, no. There was something about it. I was like, no, I don't want that. And like, I don't know, there was just something about it. And then I was like, it was hard for me because I could like barely pay off the training itself and all that. So like, it was hard because I was struggling with that. And then eventually I quit because it just got too much. And that's when I kind of realized that there was something that I had to figure out. Because like, there was one day I scrolled on YouTube, and like, I got this video on my feed while I was scrolling, and it was a video by a guy named Benji, a trans guy. I don't know why I clicked on it. It was called like questioning your gender or something, and I didn't know why I clicked on it, but like there was some like, I watched through this video, and that was like the moment I was like, everything just hit me. And obviously I was like, okay, it's just one video. It's just one video. I can't like confirm for a fact that I'm trans because I watched this video. So I did like a bunch of research, and then I was like, oh wow, I can relate so much to all this, and like, how did I not realize this before? So I started like, I cut my hair. I started going by Emil around my friends. I came out to my mom, which at the time, it didn't go horribly, but it didn't go really well because it was obviously hard for her to like adjust to my like pronouns and my new name, and it hurt me a lot. It made me really sad and like angry in a way. I know you're watching this, and but like, it was just how I felt, and I didn't really think about her point of view. I just thought about like how horrible it felt for me to not like be accepted and just still being seen as a girl, even though I'm a guy. And it was just a like, I had to kind of like shift my perspective to hers and kind of like realize that it can take time. Obviously, it doesn't have to be like that she just don't want to accept me. It can be like that she's just trying, but it's just gonna like, it's a thing you get used to after a while, like saying the preferred name and all that, the new name. And yeah, at the time I tried a bunch of things. I tried like trans tape, and I remember there was one time like my family was, I don't know where they were, but like I was home alone, and I decided to like, I took a shower, put on trans tape and boxers, and then I just walked in front of the mirror and I just stared at myself. And like, that was the first time I knew for a fact that I was a guy. Because I was crying because of the amount of euphoria I got like by looking at myself, and I was like, holy shit. I was like, every like, all the puzzle pieces that I've like missed have like falling into place, and I finally like, I don't hate what I see anymore. Like, I didn't cry because I was like disgusted. I cried because it felt right. And yeah, that was a big thing. And after a while, like I went to the psychiatrist, and she like uh helped me contact the trans healthcare center, which they have now replied, and they will contact me for like a interview thing, because they want to like talk to me in person first before they like help me and stuff like that. But like back to me talking about with this psychiatrist. What I was saying was that my psychiatrist, she like said to me that from what you told me, we're so distracted by all the other things that was going on in your childhood that you didn't really see, like you didn't really think about your identity in that sense, because obviously the bullying, my parents getting divorced at that time, and like I hit puberty, and I was like, it was just too much in that sense. And like for her, like when she told me that, I was like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because I was dealing with so much other stuff that I didn't really think about my identity. I just wanted to be like anyone else, and just like I just thought about surviving at that point, like mentally. um and that's obviously a big reason why I didn't know from the start. And after that point, I was so happy. I'm still waiting for the trans clinic to like contact me, and I am so excited about the next step in like talking to them and maybe getting on testosterone. Hopefully, I'm getting on testosterone. But like recently, this is the most recent moment. Like me and my mom has gotten along much better. Like she's obviously like calling me by the right name. There are still some slip ups, but like she's trying, which is means a lot to me. And yeah, I'm just so happy for the support, and the fact that people are really trying to like support me the best they can. Like that means a lot. And yeah, this I feel like this is a good place to end the video. um I hope y'all enjoyed it, and I will continue um uploading more videos, hopefully on Wednesdays. Every Wednesday I plan on making a new video. And yeah, um so if there's any topic that y'all want me to talk about, then feel free to comment. And please leave a like and subscribe if you want more. That will help me a lot on the way. And yeah, I'll see y'all in the next video.